How you doing?
Good. Doing all right. Oh my god, come on.
Oh my god, come on. Oh my god.
Apple News just decided to seemingly have to think about things.
Yeah, it does that sometimes.
It's going. There it goes. So what have you been up to?
You know, nothing, I guess.
Nothing, you guess?
I mean, other than getting back from Florida.
Gross. How
Yep.
was the weather down there?
Humid.
Gross.
It wasn't as bad as last time, but it's still gross, like just to be in humidity.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't like it. I don't like it at all. I don't understand
Yeah,
how anyone deals with that.
I wouldn't either.
But yeah, I mean, it wasn't overly hot, but like when the sun was out, it was sort of unpleasant to be in it, just because you're standing still and you're just like sweat, and it's like I
Just
said, it's
there.
not overly hot. It was like in the high 70s or so, borderline 80s or whatever. But it was just like, bro, why does the sun make everything so moist?
Mm-hmm. If you had to choose between Arizona weather and Florida weather, which would you choose?
Arizona.
Arizona?
Yeah, it's just, bro, the humidity. Like it's just so gross. Like people are like, "Oh yeah, but you can get used to it." There's no way. Dude, like there's no way. Everything is wet and not in a good way.
Right?
And nothing dries.
Oh, that's so awful.
And the worst part was like you think about it like when we were at Universal, we decided to go on the Jurassic Park River Adventure.
Yeah, I meant to ask, it's still the same one as like over in Universal California, right?
Yeah, basically the exact same thing.
Basically
The
the same
the,
thing.
the biggest difference is it doesn't have the non-functional Jeep drop. It doesn't have that
Right?
because like
Get
I
your
can't
shit
even remember
together,
the last.
California.
Yeah, I can't even remember the last time that actually functioned at California before they redid the ride. But they do have. It's interesting because obviously I think the one in Orlando was built after.
Okay.
But it doesn't have Jeeps. It uses boats that are crashed
Oh, okay.
because you're in a boat.
Yeah, that makes sense
You know what I mean? Yeah.
to a
So
certain extent. Yeah.
yeah. But otherwise, formally, it's like pretty much exact same ride. Uh, but we went on that. I'm like, oh, if we get wet on this, I'm gonna be so fucking pissed because we're not gonna dry out very well.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like closer towards the end of the day, so the sun was getting ready to go down.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, dude, if we're soaked after this, I'm gonna be in the worst fucking mood.
That's actually a good point, especially if you get your socks wet. Like
Yeah, dude.
that's the worst feeling thing in the world.
Yeah, man. I was like, but luckily we actually ended up getting in a row where it was just the two of us, so we
Mm-hmm.
could like scooch in the middle. Um, which it would be normally fine if it was like a 4-person row, but like they're 5-person rows, and you can't
Mm-hmm.
really like be in the middle per se because one person's gonna be closer
Stuck
to
off
the
to the side.
edge.
Yeah.
So I was a little bit closer, but we only got sprinkles on. But the kid in front of me though got fucking wrecked.
Good.
Yeah, I was like, thank you for taking that brunt of that. And like, I had a little bit of like wetness on my booty cheeks from like the seat being wet from
Uh
previous
huh.
rides, but it was not. I was not like soaked by any means, like at all. Like little sprinklets on my shirt and shit. I was like, okay,
Just a mist. Just a
yeah. I was
mist.
like, okay, this is okay. I'm allowing this, but yeah. So, anywho,
What other rides you go on there?
so at Universal, I did pretty much every of the bigger ones. The only ones we didn't do were ones that like we didn't do Transformers because I've been on the one in California and here it's exactly the same.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I didn't go on. the kiddie Harry Potter ride, just because it's a kiddie ride and it's dumb. Why waste time and be around children? Uh, it's because it's different. There's one. I don't think there's. So the one in California has two rides. There's the indoor ride, and then there's the Hagrid's bike ride. But the
Yeah, no,
Hagrid's bike ride in California is different than the one in Orlando.
and that's what I'm trying to think of, like, because the last time I went, I'm trying to remember if we went on that. Because is the Hagrid's ride the kiddie ride you're talking about?
Yeah. So in
And that's what I'm trying
California,
to think of, like, if I went on that ride last time I was there.
yeah.
I
So in
can't remember.
California, the Hagrid's ride is the kiddie ride. It's basically like a slow coaster, or
Yeah,
slow coaster, as someone say. Uh, but and I was like, well, I'm not gonna waste my time going on a kiddie ride. It's not really worth it. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And the one I can't remember the one that's at Orlando's called. I can probably look it up, but it is it looks like the Phoenix or whatever. It might even be a hippogriff. I don't know, but probably a hippogriff. But it's a slow coaster. It's basically it's just like ooh up and down but like that's it, and you're in a full cart, like anything else. But it was all right. I was like yeah whatever. So but like because one of the times we went to the California or Hollywood Universal Studios, uh, I was too big to fit on the ride to do the indoor Harry Potter one, which is like I thought it was kind of like a Space Mountain type thing where like you're in a cart and you're running on a track. It's not. It's an indoor. Well, I don't know. The one I've never been to the one in Hollywood. I've only been on the one in Orlando now, but I think they're the same thing.
I've
But
been on the one in Hollywood, so what's the one in Orlando like?
so one in Orlando is based on so you are a Muggle who is invited to come to watch a Quidditch match at Hogwarts, and you are teleported via a port key. I'm guessing because of the way that portals, and then Hermione enchants you to be able to fly,
Mm-hmm.
and then Harry and Ron drag you through with their brooms through the castle and everything, and then you end up getting chased by a dragon at one point. Then you get you go to the Quidditch match and you're flying around, but then the Dementors come after you, which is a cool effect because in the like when you're on the thing, basically the ride is like a 4-seater that's on this arm that moves,
Mm-hmm.
and it swings you around and does like it goes upside down, tilts. Like, it's crazy articulation of this fucking thing. But you're in these rooms that have these big screens and everything, and then actually have real physical objects that are interacting with you too, which is wild. I did not enjoy the spider part because it is way too close and way too big, and I don't really like spiders in general, let alone giant fucking spiders that are like thrown in my face. But when you're at the Quidditch match and the Dementors come out, the big old tornado comes down. It's like in the middle of the room and the wind starts whipping around, and like they come after you, and then you like yeah, dude, it's wild. The ride was crazy because like you're pivoting around and like you're diving into the caverns and get away from the dragon, and then you're like you have to go next to the Whomping Willow, and it's like right next to you. Like at one point you're like right underneath the arm, but it's like swinging, and then like it's crazy. I was like, dang, this ride's bonkers. We ended up riding it 2 times in a row because it was slower. But yeah, or this not the ride was slower, but the line was slower.
Mine was slower.
But yeah, it was crazy. It was like I was like, dang, this ride is nuts.
Yeah, it sounds like exactly the same ride that was at Hollywood. I before you mentioned like the storyline of it, I couldn't remember. It's been so long since I was on it. But all I can basically remember is that you're on that mechanical arm and you're just flipping upside down and going this way and that. And I wasn't expecting it to be like that.
Neither was I.
And I don't think I had taken any Dramamine at that point.
Oh,
Going
Lord.
through stuff because a lot of the Universal rides aren't really rides; they're just like 4D experiences type thing. And I start feeling nauseous on that thing. It luckily had like points where it like stops and you get to watch a little bit of a thing. You're just like, okay, calm down. Like it's not moving very fast, but like you said, it moves in such a way that it starts flipping you upside down and it's moving, and then you do get like a 3D. You are watching like a 3D effect type movie as you're moving too, and so that's what's getting me. That's why I can't do the Star Tours ride either, because it's that motion and that like video that fucks with me for some reason. Yeah, but it sounds like it's pretty much the same ride.
Yeah, it was lots of fun.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed it quite a bit. Then the other Harry Potter ride that's over there, because they have 4. Well, technically they have 5 if you consider the train, which is technically a ride, but like it's more of an experience. But they have 4 traditional rides. They have the kiddie coaster one. They have the Forbidden Journey, I think it's called, is the indoor one inside Hogwarts. Then you have the Hagrid's motorbike adventure thingy, which I could probably look the names up, but I'm not going to right now. Actually, I will. And then the other one is the Gringotts Escape thing, which is also not the actual name of it. Hold on, let me pull it up. I'll pull up the. I don't know how to use a phone. There we go. I fat fingered 3 letters at a time, so that was fun.
Nice.
Let's look at wait times. So we'll sort by name. That might be easier to get through. So the park is open right now.
Good.
So the kiddie ride is Flight of the Hippogriff. So it is a hippogriff. That the card is based on. That's at a 55-minute wait right now. An 80-minute wait for Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure.
Damn.
So that one is the new one that's newer one, because it's actually a rethemed former Harry Potter ride, and it was Dueling Dragons before, and it was based around the Triwizards Cup. So in the ride, in the queue, there used to actually be a Triwizards Cup on display, but when they changed the ride, because it wasn't as popular, I guess, they rethemed it and made it Hagrid's Magical Creature Motorbike Adventure. They took it out and redid the aesthetics of everything, whatever, right? Really fun. It's a very fast coaster. And it's a very big theme on a lot of the Universal stuff is switching tracks. They will move you from track to track for different things. It's fucking crazy. But this one is like you go, and there's like a point where like you're coming around the corner and then like you can't go any further, so then they shoot you backwards.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And you're moving pretty quick, and you're on motorbikes or in a sidecar. There's a part where you have to basically boost, and if you remember from the movies, in the books, there's a magical boost button on the bike. You actually have to hit that, and then the carts shoot off. You don't have to, but it's obviously part of the interacting fun is to hit it. But I made Paige drive, so I yelled at her when she wasn't pressing the button because she was overwhelmed by what was happening. I was like, "Man, hit the button, hit the button, hit the button." I don't want to die. So it's really fun. And then the crazy thing about many of the Universal rides is they use the I refer to as the Haunted Mansion entrance, where you basically are on a moving walkway.
Yeah.
To get in your cart. That happens on several rides there. I was like, dang, that's crazy. Like, you're not just like getting on, like you're like, and it's not like unlike or different from like the Haunted Mansion where like it's just a row of carts that continuous. These, you're on a train still, so you're on a separated train it's wild that it's moving. I was like, this is weird. But then once you ride it, you realize that you're not on the same track as the rest of the coaster is, because you're moved around. So, But yeah, it's a pretty wild ride. It's fun. Long ass queue line though. Like right now it's 80 minutes, but like at one point I think the longest we saw when we were there, according to the app, was like 180 minutes. I think, or at one point, yeah, I think it was like the longest we saw it. But I was told it can get up to like 300 plus minutes. Yeah, fucking crazy. Then the other one that I was talking about earlier, it's Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey. That's the one that's inside the castle. It's got a 40-minute wait right now. And then the other ride is the Harry Potter and the Escape from Gringotts. That one takes place in Gringotts Bank. That's the one that actually has the dragon on top that breathes fire, which is gnarly to experience because it's real fire and it's hot. It's like, whoa, Jesus, what's wrong with you people? That one's really fun too, and the queue line's pretty. Once you get into Gringotts, not outside Gringotts because it's just universal at that point. But once you're inside, it's pretty cool because they, much like the Harry Potter, the Forbidden Journey one, you're inside a building that's obviously magic endowed, and they have the portraits that move. Because when you go into the Forbidden Journey, you actually enter through the Gryffindor common room, and so you actually walk past you go through the portal going in. So like you walk past the fat lady in the painting, and she's talking to you and is moving. But they have them all over the walls where like they're talking and stuff like that. It's pretty cool. But in Gringotts, they have a bunch of newspapers with the pictures that are moving.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so it's cool that way. And then they use a lot of windows that are like LCD screens that have silhouettes of people walking by and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool, kind of immersive. It's not just like stationary stuff. Like they really, interacting with them, but you're watching as they do things, which is pretty cool. And then the other one, which is the Hogwarts Express, it's a twofold. It goes from Hogsmeade, and so you're leaving the Hogwarts Express from Hogsmeade Station, and then you're arriving at Hogwarts Express King's Cross Station, and then vice versa. You can go from there over. And when you're on the train, which physically moves, but like you don't see it moving from the inside, you're feeling the simulation of it moving faster than it actually is. But when you're inside the cabin, the window is a screen that shows the outside world, and you can actually see when you get in, the brick walls next to you. And as you move, it travels, it passes you. It's pretty cool. Then you come out of the station, and you see the lush greens, and you can see Hogwarts in the distance, and shit flying around. And then the Weasley brothers come by and advertise their candy and trick shop over in Diagon Alley, and so that's pretty cool. And then like at one point, like the Harry, Hermione, and Ron walk by, and on the other side, which is like the interior, and it's like a silhouette of them, and they're talking. And then I was like, I wonder if the treat trolley's gonna come by. It never did, so that was depressing. But yeah, so that's kind of cool, and like it's just a fun little get from one park to the other park experience. And then I didn't get experience the other one going back because it kept breaking down, I guess, because it is a ride. So that was kind of cool. It was a fun experience, but it just gets you from Islands Adventures, where we started, over to the Orlando or the Universal Studios Orlando park, and then go back versus having to go. But the only way you can go on it is if you have to have essentially a park hopper pass, because it is literally, you have to you go through and they scan your pass again to get on, and then obviously go the other way, do the same thing. So yeah, it was very interesting, and a cool little experience. And if you're a Harry Potter fan, you will enjoy it quite a bit.
Nice.
Yeah, and so like I was gonna say the Escape from Gringotts is much similar to the I would say a mix between so you would know, like a sort of like the Transformers ride where you're on a cart that moves in front of screens, but also is like way more articulated on the cart itself. So like the Transformers cart's on rails, right? But like the cart spins like on it and tilts and stuff like that. This does the same thing, but at one point you actually get moved from a track to another track. And when they do that, you get in front of a screen, and then all of a sudden the floor breaks, and the cart literally like at first I thought it was just like, oh, they made it seem like it's dropping, but then like, you see it, and you're like, wait, hold on, we're leaving, like we're no longer attached to that rail anymore. We're on a different one, and I can see it from little I can see without my glasses on, because I don't want to lose my glasses on some of these rides that do bounce around quite a bit.
Right.
And I was like, okay, all right, because you're not wearing 3D goggles or anything. You're just you're just in screens, and I can see for the most part, obviously from like distance, it's not close or whatever. And like they drop you down a rail, like on a rail, so you're moving. I was like, holy shit, this is gnarly. So like there's a ride element to it, and like it was like, this is crazy, dude. Yeah, but it's super
awesome.
fun. Yeah, it was like, damn, this is elaborate. Like it's a whole lot more than just like I'm riding a fucking moving cart around a bunch of screens. Like you're moving. I was like, dang, this is crazy.
Nice.
So yeah, so those are the Harry Potter ones, and of course you have the two different lands you're in. You're in the Hogsmeade, has a bunch of shops and restaurant or whatever. And then you're in Diagon Alley, and when you get off the train at King's Cross, you actually walk around the pillar thing, and you hear the bricks shifting as you walk into Diagon Alley through the hole of the jagged hole made by the bricks moving on the wall. Is pretty cool.
That's cool.
It's because you can't see it until you get around one corner. You start to hear the bricks shifting, and then as you pass the other corner, you can see it's open. But then you can no longer hear bricks moving. I was like, that's cool.
That's really cool.
Yeah, so it's kind of magical that way. So you go in, and of course, the weird thing about Hogsmeade is it's snowing. There's snow on the roofs and everything, but it's like humid and gross outside because you're like in Florida still.
Right.
I was like, this is odd. And Green Gots is outside Green Gots, you can see the bank and everything. It has along Diagon Alley, has again all the shops like the Oleander's wands and the robe shop and all that fun stuff. And then of course you have the Weasley's shop, which was jam packed. By the way,
I imagine
it was
a candy shop.
full to the brim with motherfuckers. I was like, I ain't going there. I ain't going there at all. I've been in the one in California. I think, but I was like, I'm not going in there. But yeah, they have a bunch of different shops there, and they have a full service restaurant that's there, which is the Three Broomsticks. No, Leaky Cauldron. Leaky Cauldron.
Okay,
Yeah, which is pretty cool. So yeah, that was pretty cool. And then we went from there. Once you exit out of that through the back out into the regular in the Muggle world, you're right outside of where you can see the. Oh, we didn't do the MIB ride either, which I guess is not really a ride. It's more just like a thing where you experience it or whatever.
more of a 4D experience.
Yeah. So we didn't do that one because the line was longer, and I was like, whatever. And we did do the Simpsons ride because they have that. The biggest difference between the Simpsons ride in Hollywood versus Orlando is all the outside of it, where it's like they have the carnival games, were actually up and running.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and it's the same thing. You have like Moe's Tavern where you can actually buy beer. You have the Quickie Mart. They actually have the Bumblebee Man's taco truck.
Nice.
And then they have the photo opportunity with Sheriff Wiggum, right? With his crash car out there on the hydrant and spraying water. Pretty cool, all that fun stuff. But they actually have the carnival games were playable. Like you win prizes and stuff. Like they're fully functional.
Yeah, I don't recall that being ever a thing.
Yeah.
California.
Yeah, I guess it used to. Well, it might. I didn't say. I guess I know it used to be, but it's never. It hasn't been that way the last few times we've been there. It was they. I think they pulled them out really. When they kind of shifted everything when the Harry Potter stuff came in. But yeah, so you have that, which is really fucking cool, and then of course the ride is exactly the same. It's oriented a little differently, like shifted around, but it's still the exact same ride. You get on it and you go through the adventure. It's just really fun. And Paige has never been on it before, so
Nice.
that was a fun time. She's like, "Oh, that was really fun." I was like, "I know, it's one of my favorite, like just low key, super fun rides."
Right? Yeah.
And then we went on to from there. I can't remember which one we went to after that. Hold on, let me look at the map again. So MIB is there. We went on the see, it's weird too because like they show the Hogwarts Escape from Gringotts as like a 4D or like a 3D adventure thing, but like it was way more than that. It was it's hard to explain really, but it's definitely a fun time. So yeah, so we skipped the MIB one, went to the Simpsons ride. We did not do the King and Coda's Twirl and Hurl because it's a kiddie ride and it doesn't sound like fun because it's throwing up stuff. Oh, then we went to E.T. Adventure, which I'd never been on because it never existed outside of Orlando, but I've already heard about it and read about it, and it was everything it lived up to be. It's old, it's outdated for sure. But what's crazy, so Joe knows this, I think. So this is one of the only rides that have been altered by the creator. And I don't know if I'll say this and see if you know what I'm talking about. I won't tell you what it is just yet until you guess.
Okay.
And it's never been updated except for one time because I was a request of the creator of the movie. Do you know what that alteration was?
Well, does it have to do with the alteration of the movie?
Yes.
Because I know that the movie was altered to take out any guns and replaced with walkie-talkies.
Exactly. So this ride is the tail end of... First off, this ride is an acid trip for kids. So the story of the ride...
Some of it on YouTube, yeah.
Yeah, so the story of the ride is you get... so E.T. it's the whole story. So they try to take E.T. You help him escape, but the reason you're escaping is because he gets a call from home, and he needs to go back to heal, to use his special healing powers to heal the other creatures on his planet, including his planet, because it's dying, and he's the only one that can help heal it, because ET is special. So you get a call. Excuse me. He gets a telepathic call or whatever, but in the queue line, and I can't remember the name of the creature of the character. His like mentor is there,
Okay.
and he at one point like he's there on the rock talking to you, and he's got this orb that glows showing his planet, and he's telling you what you have to do. Right, you go around, and there's a speaking spell that's saying hello. On there, it's pretty cool. A little wire running into the forest, and he's like saying hello, and then you're going through, and you come back around, and the dude's gone. And I was like, wait, hold on, he was just there talking to us. Now he's like gone. That's wild. So then you get on, but when you're going through and you do the little like lobby thing, they tell you they're going to get this special passport, and when you go through, they have people typing your name into the system, and they give you the card. Then when you get on the cart, the dude takes the cards. You ride the ride, which is not fast. It's definitely a slow ride. But you're up in the air on these bikes, magical bikes, enchanted bikes, I think what they call them, I don't know, flying bikes. And you're going through the whole thing, and you essentially go through the tail end of the movie where they're trying to capture him. You help him escape, and you're on the bikes, and you fly over the hill. And there's a cool part where you're flying over a diorama of the city. It's pretty rad looking. And then you get teleported to E.T.'s planet.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, which is fucking wild. And it is an acid trip, dude. There's like living mushrooms and like all sorts of weird shit. And I was like, what is happening here? How much coke were these motherfuckers on? But you at one point you go by a cop who's in the forest, and you can see in his hand, which looks like it should be gripping something loosely, is a walkie-talkie that's zip tied to his hand.
Nice.
You can see the zip tie going around his hand. So he's like
Yeah.
this, but he's like pointing with a trigger finger like this, a walkie-talkie at you. It's so funny. So I had to explain to Paige, like, because she didn't know that, because I'm pretty sure she's only ever seen E.T. with walkie-talkies only. So I explained to her, like, that's the reason it looked awkward is because he was supposed to be holding a gun, but they changed the ride, and it's the only time they've ever updated the ride. You can tell. And now they just replace all the guns with walkie-talkies.
Nice.
So all the soldiers have walkie-talkies and no guns. It's really funny. But yes, but when you leave, so you finish the ride and you get E.T. back to his homeland and he's curing everybody, you get ready to leave to get teleported back to Earth, and E.T. standing, because on the ride in the front of the cart in a basket, E.T. actually pops up in and out of it because he's riding with you. But then when you get to where you're going, he disappears, so the blanket falls loosely into the basket, and you see him on the edge. And he's like, then he thanks you by name.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, he says your name out loud, and I was like,
there's just some dude
Bitch,
that
what?
they have, and that all day long he's just sitting there like, okay, Cody Sullivan, Paige,
Yeah.
Jankets.
yeah, I was like,
That's it. That's just a dude's job at this point until AI can, replicate E.T.'s voice.
yeah, it was fun, crazy. I was like, what? That's nuts. It's funny too. So do you know what the Simpsons ride used to be?
Do I know what it used to be?
Yeah, so it was something previous before of a
No.
franchise you and I actually love a lot.
No. I don't know.
So it used to be a Back to the Future ride.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And then they rethemed it for Simpsons.
Okay,
but
I didn't know that was a complete retheme. I thought it was a totally different thing.
no, so what's crazy about that is the reason I bring it up is I forgot to say this. When you're leaving the Simpsons area, you leave. So we entered from the backside, which leads you right into the Krusty Land. And then if you come through the front of the park, you actually come through Springfield first, and then you enter Krusty Land, which is what you're supposed to do. But we came from Harry Potter Land, so we did it backwards. Anyways, so before you enter Springfield from the front half, you actually walk up to the DeLorean and Doc Brown's train, which are still there.
Wow.
Because it's supposed to lead you into the entrance to the area that would have been Back to the Future.
Okay.
And I think they used to have like an old West town, and they used to have the facade of the movie theater.
Okay.
I think is what it was.
I
So yeah,
remember, something because I remember a couple of years ago watching that documentary about Back to the Future, and like where all the DeLoreans are that were used in the movie. I cannot remember exactly because they did show off the because one of the DeLoreans is there. That is one of the DeLoreans from the movie.
I believe it looked like it was the second one because it looked like it had the fusion on it. But I was like, that's wild. It's still here. But yeah, Doc Brown's train just chilling. I was like, this is so out of context,
Right.
because like the DeLorean's here, right? But there's like no real signs of anything Back to the Future other than a stanchion sign stopping people from walking and touching the DeLorean. And then right behind it, on like this little planter hill thing overlooking the little lake they have right there, is just Doc Brown's train. I was like, this is so odd.
It's one of those things that is enough of a draw for some people that they will like stop and take pictures, so you don't want to take it away, but at the same time, like it's just taking up space. And you're right, yeah. I'm trying to I would make a comparison to something else. I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but yeah, I get what you're saying. Like it's just so out of place.
Yeah,
You'd think that they would have ripped it out by now, but then again, it is just a very iconic thing.
Yeah, it was like, I was like, oh, okay, that's that's cool, but like also very odd.
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't get rid of it, but like also like doesn't really have a reason to be here anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. It was weird, but I was like, because when you come out of the out of Springfield, you pass the I want to say the last thing you pass on the right before the DeLorean is the Bumblebee Man's taco truck,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's the DeLorean sitting there with the train behind it, and I was like, okay, that's cool. Uh, that's rad, I guess, for some strange reason. Oh, the donut shop. Or no, is that the last thing you see? I want to say the last thing you see is the taco truck, which is right there. Yeah, yeah. And then you go through. It's just I don't know. It was very strange, and I was like, okay, that's cool. Uh, bye. See, we left ET, and then we went to their version of the back lot because they don't. So Universal Studios Hollywood is still a functional movie studio
Mm-hmm.
or studio. They do TV shows there too. So the back lot is a functional back lot, which depending when you're there, sometimes when you do the back lot tour, they are filming stuff, and so you can't
Yeah.
go through part of it. So it changes. So we're differently depending on when you're there and what's happening. Either you do drive through the back lot city, or you drive around it.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have that in Orlando because it's not a functional movie studio.
Oh, okay.
So they have the back lot city, but it's functional with shops and things like that.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
But it's made to look like iconic things like the Blues Brothers have a thing there,
Mm-hmm.
and things like that. So you walk through that, and it's got like the Mel's Diner, and then like all these different ones where you walk through there, and then that's what leads you to like leads you into the Minions area, which is a whole revamped area that has the Despicable Me Minion Mayhem. Then the new one, which is called Illuminations Villain Con Minion Blast, which is like a shooter ride. And then they have the main theater where they show like cartoons and shit. I guess
Okay.
didn't go on those. So the right now there's a 10-minute wait for the Minion the Villain Con, so that's fun. And there's a 35-minute wait for Minion Mayhem, but we didn't go on those because they were packed. And then when we finally saw this no line for Villain Con, it was down, so we couldn't go there. Yeah. So I was like, well, that's depressing. Like, so we didn't go to the Transformers one. From there, we went and we did the Jimmy Fallon race through New York,
Okay.
which is very similar to actually, it's not very similar to anything I've really seen. Because it's a motion ride, but you're not really moving. You're not going forward or backwards. You're just on a thing that simulates motion,
Mm-hmm.
which is it's super rad. It's super fun. And you're wearing your safety goggles. But basically, it's literally like you go to you walk through Rockefeller Center, the queue line. You actually go into the NBC building, and you actually go upstairs and you walk through the lobby, and you go into the sound stage, and you're actually an audience member that he challenges to a race. And he gets this little Tonight Show car, and you race through New York, and he plays different characters that he's played on the show throughout the ride.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's a really fun ride, and it's real quick. Or like it wasn't very busy. Like right now, it has a 25-minute wait, which is what it said when we basically walked on. So the hardest part was getting behind people who didn't understand that you have to like get the glasses before you get on the ride.
Right.
Anyhow, so then from there we did the Revenge of the Mummy, which is way different than the one in California in Hollywood. And it's a lot of fun. It's just like it's pretty ridiculous. It reminded me more of like the Indiana Jones ride than it did the Mummy ride.
Which is really cool because obviously I love the Indiana Jones ride over at Disney. I will ride that thing all day long, and I would want to like the Mummy Escapes or whatever it was called, over at Orlando, but it's more of a Space Mountain type roller coaster, or not Orlando,
in,
California,
in Hollywood. Yeah.
in Hollywood. Yeah, it's more of a Space Mountain roller coaster, which is fun, but at the same time, it just didn't have that like. I think if I recall right, it starts out with that kind of like Indiana Jones feel, but then it just goes right into just a dark roller coaster with neon lights and stuff. And it's just like, okay, that was fun, you know. But
And
I want more of a experience like the Indiana Jones ride.
yeah, and this one does have that dark aspect where you are running around the tracks. It's very similar, but it has more of an Indiana Jones feel at parts of it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like the one part where they literally set the room that you're in on the roof on fire with
Nice.
real live fire, and I was
Nice.
like, "It's warm in here, everybody." Is this the backdraft experience again? Like, what's happening?
Oh my god. It wasn't actually a part of the ride. They just the ride just accidentally lit on fire.
Yeah, well, they did a real good job getting us out of there. Yeah, so it's really fun, and it's the whole story of that one is you're you're an extra that's brought in, but then you find out the curse is real,
Mm-hmm.
and so you're literally trying to get away from being captured by the mummy and sacrificed, which is pretty rad. But it's very like I said, it's kind of it's very similar to the one in Hollywood, but more of a attraction and experience like the Indiana Jones is.
Nice.
They do have some animatronics, but they don't have they don't have a Brendan Fraser animatronic.
That sucks.
Yeah, they have an Inotep animatronic that opens his mouth. But yeah, so then we didn't do the Fast and Furious ride because it's the same. I heard it's the same from Orlando or from Hollywood, and that one ride sucks ass. So
Yeah, it's not the best.
yeah. So, and then the last ride we rode there was unfortunately the Hollywood Rip Ride Rocket, which is the worst roller coaster on the fucking planet. And it
It was
is
the last ride that you guys rode.
well, it was the last ride we rode in the Universal side because then we went back
okay.
to the Islands of Adventure to do like the Marvel stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I highly recommend anybody who goes here to skip this ride. It's rough. It is in severe need for redo or complete or demolish. I'm not too sure. It is a very fast coaster that's not very comfortable to ride because it's very fast and jerky, but the headrests don't really support your head, and so your head's bouncing off plastic the entire time.
Ouch.
Yeah, like borderline whiplash.
Damn.
Yeah, it's not fun. Not fun at all. So skip that one if you can. So then we went from because we started. So I told you this the other day, but I didn't tell the audience. So we started our day early access, early entry to Islands of Adventure, which is the newer park.
Mm-hmm.
So we could ride Velocicoaster and the Hagrid's motorbike adventure before everybody else. So we can get on and try to avoid the longer time. So the Velocicoaster we essentially walked on. We barely waited at all to get on that one because we were like some of the first people in the park, even though people were running. This is fucking ridiculous. But then the Hagrid's one we had to wait for like 45 minutes or an hour or something. Still early, but like not as fucking short as I was hoping. Because it's a long ride and a lot of it's in the sun. Luckily, it wasn't too hot out and it was cloudy. And there was a little bit of breeze, but still was unpleasant because it's still kind of humid out. But yeah, so then after Paige and I rode that, we went back over to Islands of Adventure, and we rode the Hulk ride, which is rad as shit. And like you're going in and basically you're like being hulked, and then you get on it and it basically shoots you vertically, like at an angle, like diagonally.
Yeah, okay.
Shoots you up and then drops you into like a fucking like hard turn
Damn.
real fast. It is fun as shit. So yeah, we did that one, and it's a pretty long ride too, and it's got pretty gnarly like curves and loops. And there's one where it's like you go up and you corkscrew out into a loop that's like above everything, like so it's like a loop, but like you invert in the loop and then come
Okay,
back
yeah.
out and establish to go back up another one, do the same thing out.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy, dude. It's fucking wild.
It sounds like it.
It's so much fun. Then there's some of the kiddier rides. There's a Storm Force Acceleration, which is like a crazy teapot type thing, but like it's based on Storm, like the Marvel character X-Men Storm.
Okay.
Then we rode we skipped over the Doctor Doom's free fall, which is basically these 2 drop towers.
Mm-hmm.
Paige's like, no, I'm not doing drop towers. Like, I don't blame you. Those usually suck ass. And then we rode the Spider-Man, the Amazing Adventures of Spider-Man, which is based more on the cartoon than it is like any of the franchise movies because they can't.
Okay.
But it's cool because when you walk in, you go through the front of the Daily Bugle, and the bulk of the queue line is inside the Daily Bugle, but it's all animated, so like it looks like animation drawing on everything. And of course, over the years, people have touched things, so it's worn off the paint, so some of that gets a little lost. But then throughout the screens have reports and stuff from coming in, and it's all animated like the old cartoon.
Cool.
And then the ride is very reminiscent of like the Transformers ride, where you're in a cart and it's moving and switching around, and it simulates falling and flying and all that fun stuff. It's pretty rad. A lot of fun times. And I guess recently they updated the video, so I guess it looks better. So I don't know what it used to look like, but it looked real good to me. I was like, this is actually really cool looking. Because it all has all the, like Hydro Man is in it, and Electro, and he's got the stupid yellow and green suit with the with the fucking weird face thing in the front.
Right.
Doc Ock has the bowl cut. So, and then like, what's Lady Venom's name?
Lady Venom.
Yeah, it's she looks kind of like Carnage, has a bunch of hair. What is her name?
Oh, with the redhead.
Yeah, what is her name? Whatever. She's part of it because it's the Sinister Syndicate, was what they're called in this. Because I don't think they can use Sinister Six. But she's part of it. It's just lots of fun. She's a maniac. At one point, she like comes at you, and he's like, "No, they're mine." And I was like, "Oh, good," because she looks like she come kill us.
Right.
And then Doc Ock uses anti-gravity gun on you, and then Spider-Man has to save you, and one point you're falling through the city. I was like, "Oh shit, this is nuts." Ugh. Good God, my morning grossness is not gone.
Sounds like it.
Then we walked through the Seuss Land and the Seuss Land we didn't walk all the way through because that was earlier, but then we walked through this area was weird because it was like the comic strips land.
Okay.
Which I didn't know existed, but it's like Popeye and Dudley Do-Right and Woody Woodpecker and all these things. There's a Dudley Do-Right log ride. It's called the Dudley Do-Right's Ripsaw Falls, and it's basically like their version of Splash Mountain.
Okay.
But it's Dudley Do-Right. Yeah, it looks gnarly. We did not ride that because it was a wet ride, and I was like, "Fuck you." There's no chance.
Yeah.
Then there's a Popeye and Bluto's Bilge Rat Barge, which is also another water ride.
So, thank you.
Yeah, I was like, nah, pass. I will not do that. And then there's another it's a kiddie ride around water, but it's not in water. But it's called Me Ship Me the Olive, and it's basically based on his sailboat or his tugboat thingy.
Okay.
I don't know what the ride does because we skipped over going it, but so we walked through that area to make our way to Skull Island Reign of Kong.
Nice.
Which is very similar to the part you do in the Backlot tour in Orlando or in Hollywood.
Okay.
But it's a full-on motion ride.
Mm-hmm.
Where you're in like a cart, which is wild because it looks like very reminiscent of the Backlot cars you're in, but like bigger and like has a foldy door thing. But then you're not wearing 3D glasses in this one.
Mm-hmm.
They used to, I guess they updated it to take away the 3D because I guess it probably caused a lot of motion sickness because it is gnarly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fucking wild. So you go through that, and it's basically just the scenes from the same ones that are in Hollywood, but like a little more elaborate in parts, and it makes it feel like you fall off the road. It's pretty cool. So that's a fun little ride. And then we went past the kiddie Jurassic Park stuff, the Pterodon flyers. I know it's, and then the Camp Jurassic, whatever the fuck that thing is. And then we rode the Jurassic Park River Adventure, which, again, I was, like I said earlier, skeptical that I was going to get lots of wet and very upset, but I did not get wet and upset, so groovy. And essentially, it's the same as the one in Hollywood. Just it's still Jurassic Park versus Jurassic World. But it's the same thing. You're going to go through on a boat. And it's cool because like the biggest difference, and I don't remember this happened in the one in Hollywood, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. At one point, you actually get diverted and you go the wrong way because of one of the aquatic dinosaurs pushes you off track, or off.
No.
Okay, so it is different. I was not mistaken by that.
Because I think you are supposed to. They're like you are supposed to go one way, but there's no active dinosaur that pushes you in another direction. They're just like, no, something's happened. We need to divert you to a different direction.
Okay, so yeah,
if I recall right, and
so
you
yeah,
kind of go through that. The jeep that's supposed to fall but never falls.
yeah, it's either up or completely down.
And you go through the giant aquatic center that has the newer giant aquatic dinosaur. I can't remember what it's called.
Okay.
In there.
Yeah, so in this one, you're going through and you're supposed to go through that area, and then that dinosaur is swimming underneath you, and you can see bubbles coming up, and he hits your boat, and you end up going through the raptor paddock.
Ah, yeah, no, that's not how that one goes.
And the raptors have broken loose, and so you actually get what's cool. So the Jeep falling is one thing, right? No. Mm-hmm. So in this one, where they do like, let's up the ante. We're gonna make you think you're gonna get squashed by a fucking raptor cage.
Okay.
So you're going through, and they're basically trying to transport a raptor from one cage to the other, and it's above on the little crane thing, and the boat goes underneath it, and it falls.
Oh damn!
And it like stops right above you, and I was like, oh shit, nice. Yeah, this ride totally got me wet because I'm wet on my shorts area. And it's rattling, and you can hear the raptor hissing and stuff, and then you do the climb into the lab area.
Okay.
And that's when you get they have like raptors running around you by shadows or whatever, and then like one pops up in the cage, and it's pretty cool. And then you do the whole dive thing from the T-Rex or whatever it is at that point in that ride. So yeah, it was fun. Very reminiscent of the older version that used to be in Hollywood, but now it's not. Then we went around to. I'm trying to remember which order we did. Oh yeah, we went around to do the Harry Potter one, the one we missed earlier, which is the Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey. Finally went on it because I'm not fat. I'm not too fat to go on. Did that twice, and then we ran back down to ride the Velocicoaster again, because the Velocicoaster was the first ride we rode when we got there in the morning, and it's the last ride we rode when we left.
Nice.
And we had a chance to get on a third time, because they do a thing where excuse me, everybody, you can get, as long as you're in line before the park closes, you can ride it.
Okay.
So we got off of it, and there was like 30 seconds. The guy's like, we have 30 seconds to get in line. And Paige and I looked at him like, yeah, but the line's going to be in the hour and a half.
Right.
I was like, we're done. We're not going to. I would like to ride it again, but not have to wait until.
An hour and a half past the park closing.
Yeah, the park, it was basically 9 o'clock at that point. So I was like, that's going to push like 11. I'm really tired right now because this is my third. Well, technically, if we want to consider it, it was our 5th and 6th theme park of our trip. 3rd full day at a theme park or theme parks, and I was like, I'm done for the day. And she's like, yeah, we won't worry about it. And I was like, it's really tempting though, because the ride is really, really, really fun. But I was like, I don't want to wait for another hour and a half or so to get through this. So we'll call it. So then we left and went and got Hard Rock food.
Noise.
But yeah, so that was Universal, super fun. It was my first time in Orlando or Universal Orlando / Islands of Adventure, which I kept calling Venture Isle for some reason when we were talking about it, which is not it. It's literally Universal Islands of Adventure. But I'm one of those noobs. And they do have a third park. It's called Universal's Volcano Bay. That's their water park.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're not going to go to that because
No.
ew. Which is funny because when we were leaving Spider-Man, actually when we were getting to Spider-Man, I kept seeing these people and they were soaked to the bone.
Okay.
And I didn't know why. I was like, what fucking ride are they coming from? That they are drenched. And I say drenched, head to toe soaking, like clothes sticking to them. And I was like, is that the river ride? Because I knew that was like towards where we were going. And I was like, it's not that close though, because it's on the back side of the park. And I was like, these people are that fucking wet from the Jurassic Park ride. Is it that much different? I was like, holy shit. I was like, I'm not fucking going on that. And she's like, oh, it'll be fine. I was like, no, look at these fucking people. There's a whole family completely soaked.
Ugh.
I was like, what? And it turns out that was the Dudley Do Right log ride.
Oh.
Because it has a Splash Mountain fall.
And they must have been in the right place at the right time.
No, we watched it. Everyone gets soaked on it.
Yeah, no.
The whole log gets engulfed.
We made that mistake that one year over at Disney.
Yeah, dude, and never again.
Make that mistake again.
Never again.
Yeah.
I had to throw those shoes away.
Really?
Yeah, dude, because they were ruined. Because I walked around in them after they were soaked, and like the soles are all fucked.
Wow.
So I was like, well, these shoes are trash now. I like those shoes too. There was Adidas. They were fucking ruined from Splash Mountain. And walking around all of Disneyland and California Adventures with fucking soaked shoes and socks. Yeah. They're not designed to be completely fucking put underwater, apparently.
Right.
Yeah, so overall, I mean, it's definitely it's a fun time to be had. A lot of cool experiences. If everything's functional, it's a really cool way to hop back and forth between the parks is on the Hogwarts Express.
Cool.
Which, if you look at the map, actually shows you how actual far you travel on it, and it's not short. It's a pretty long trek from one side of the park because it literally connects the back two sides of the parks.
Okay.
Which are not next to each other.
Yeah.
Like, I can show you. I don't know how well you can see it on the app there, but like, so like that's the train.
Yeah.
Like that's how far you're going. From
Wow.
like one part to the other. It's fucking gnarly, dude. It's like you can see it like between the two. Like you go quite a distance. And it's very immersive. Like you look like you're on the train. You feel like you're on the train. It rocks and stuff, and like it even has the when you come up to the stop and stuff, and
that's cool.
Yeah, you get out and it looks like a train station, and you can see the 9 3/4, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Sign, and you walk through the wall. And you come out into King's Cross, and you walk through that into Diagon Alley, which, like I said earlier, you walk through the brick wall and stuff. It's pretty fucking cool.
Nice.
But yeah, it's a fun time. It was, I highly recommend it if you're ever there to check that shit out because it's a lot of fun.
One of these days, I will get around to doing somewhat essentially what you guys did, which is just go there once and then go to Orlando, go to Universal Studios and Disney World.
Yeah.
Just to get out of the way because I don't really foresee myself going to Florida multiple times. It'd just be too expensive. Yeah,
then Florida sucks for the most part, and everyone kept telling us, "Yeah, like we have 3 of the most deadly things in the world." I was like, why does everyone keep telling us this? I don't want to hear about your sharks, your snakes, and your fucking gators.
The only thing I would change is trying to go around Hollywood Horror Nights, just so I can get that experience into,
Yeah.
Do Orlando I keep calling it Orlando. Do Universal Studios during the day, and then do a night of Hollywood Horror Nights, and then I can get all that done.
Yeah.
And of course, when they get the Disney, not Disney, Mario Land,
The Epic Universe stuff, yeah.
all finished as well, which I would have sworn would have been done by now, but apparently is not.
No, it's
The
definitely
Lego over in Hollywood is done.
yeah, yeah, done and open. Yeah, it's in that one's a lot smaller and more confined than the one in Orlando, because the one in Orlando is literally a new park that is 5 different lands in the one park. So like it's a lot more elaborate. They're doing kind of what like Disney did with like the Hollywood Studios and Animal Kingdom. So you have, and they're not like, it's not close. it's a pretty long distance away. But you can actually see the rides from the main street, which is Sand Lake Boulevard, I believe is what it's called. You can see them often, and they're pretty far off, but that's what they're obviously you can't have them right next to the fucking street or whatever. Because even Universal Orlando and Islands of Adventure and Volcano Bay, they're secluded away from everything, because they're essentially not highway visible. But this one is like a good distance from those ones. Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty. And if you go to the website, you can actually watch a little video they released of it, kind of showing off what it's going to be, talking about the hotel that's going to be there and like the different lands, the Wizarding World, How to Train Your Dragons, the Mario one, and then their Monster Universe, I believe, is the 4th one inside the main one.
Okay.
Because there's like a hub one, and then there's the 4 on the outside of it. So interesting, very very interesting. But yeah, it's gonna be pretty wild to go and do that. But I would love to do the Hollywood or the Halloween Horror Nights in Orlando, because the Hollywood one's fun. And I always know the Orlando one's a little more elaborate and in different
Sometimes
too.
you get the actors and stuff that go there for some reason.
Yeah, because it's not crowded and fucking hard to get around in Hollywood. But yeah, so yeah, it's a good time. Had fun. Very tired afterwards. I'm still fucking tired from it.
I imagine.
Because there's a lot of theme park in a week. But yeah, no, it was lots of fun.
Cool.
Good. I'm happy I was able to do it.
Good. And now it's done. You don't have to do it again.
Nope. Never again. Fuck it forever until that other park opens.
Right.
So yeah, so that's it. I think we're wrapping it up for this week's episode of Comes Naturally. We have been
Joe.
I've been Cody, and as usual, you fuckers just came naturally.
Bye.
Bye.